It's very hard to put into words. If you get really that's why most teachers don't talk about this stuff, right? For very good reason, because it can be described a lot better than the books tell you it can be described, but it cannot be perfectly described. So I could try to amplify, but it's going to be explaining the obscure with the even more obscure.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, good.
But do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. I'm actually doing it as we're speaking. There's a word in Latin that describes it, believe it or not. But it is so esoteric that almost no one has ever heard this word. The only reference that you will find to this word is if you look up the ecstasy of Saint Teresa, which refers to a piece of sculpture that was done in the High Renaissance, in the Baroque period by Bernini. And it's this great classic thing from, the Counter-Reformation Catholic art is very dramatic. It's Saint Teresa experiencing pervasive gone. But of course, how do you express that in a work of art that's going to emotionally grip people? Well, she's shown swooning, and it was hugely controversial work of art. People were very annoyed by it, and I'm talking about back in the when would that have been? The 1600s, I guess, because it's very sensual. Okay, let's just put it at that. So anyway, what's happening is she's out. And there's this angel sort of on her chest, and he's pulling out this arrow. He's not stabbing her, he's actually removing the arrow. And what happened before the arrow going through, that's called transverberation, okay? It's when the source creates a wormhole from itself through time, space, self, and world, and back to itself. And so right now there's a wormhole. It sort of starts back here, goes through here, goes right through the center of your head and out the other way. And part of me is looking through that wormhole, and it absolutely sees nothing. It's just void to void. But all around that is the color and form I need to interact.
I really appreciate it.
It's like, well, all I can say is, if that makes any sense to anyone, then I salute you. And I just love that word, like God's arrow that goes through the time-space continuum. And of course, how wide is that channel? Well, if that channel attains a certain width, you will enter Nirodha Samapatti, infused contemplation, and you're out, maybe 3 days. No movement, no perceptible breath, or etc.
So to follow up, as a continuum then, the degree to which you are the unfixated wormhole, and the degree to which there is a recognition of
is a movable feast. Yeah. Yes. So that's the new paradigm. God's wormhole. It's called transverberation. If you're interested, it's just an odd word for meaning when God shoots an arrow through you.
So I also really enjoyed your saying what your day was. What I heard you say is sometimes you live without source. So that sent me to your book to look up the word source, and there are many recommendations in your book to read about source. And how do you live without source during your day?
The same way I did before I started to meditate, because it's just the experience of an ordinary person that doesn't know how to meditate.
I see.
The only difference is I don't care. I have no preference between being in a deep state or just being agitated and, bopping around, taking care of business. Because actually St. Teresa explained it perfectly. She said, it's a window, it's open all the time, but, well, not really. Sometimes it closes, but you don't care because you know it's going to open again. And you know that with such certainty that you don't even care.
Question. The transverberation that you described the other day, the God's arrow kind of coming through with the shaft, did that, for you, did that happen? We did a video on YouTube about key moments for you, and you talked about the first one where you reached around and realized your boundaries weren't there anymore. Did that happen like just suddenly that day, or is this something that evolved over time?
Took 20 years from the first breakthrough.
Was that the first breakthrough was that day? So it was 20 years after that?
That I started to get the transverberation. Yeah.
And did it slowly develop over
Yes,
time?
slowly.
Okay.
First just a hint,
Right.
then more and more salient.
Got it. Thank you.